You're ready.
All right. All the budget public hearings order, please. All rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Moment of silence, please, for the deceased district members. Okay. See, we do need to do a roll call, please.
Chris.
Here.
Brian. Here. Rich.
Here.
Nick. Here. Dan.
Here. We are all here. Present account for great. Please confirm, Sean, that the hearing notice was published on the record, etc.
Correct.
On our website.
And on the websites, town's website, town's bulletin board. Yep.
All those wonderful places. That'd be great.
Correct.
Then you might roll right in and give us a brief presentation on the budget so that we can then open up the public hearing and discuss it.
Okay. So we worked on the 2023 budget on September 12th, and these were the numbers that we arrived at. It was personal services, 66,000. Firefighting operations equipment support, 100,000. Maintenance of equipment, 105. Maintenance of the building, 97. Buildings, excuse me, and grounds. Insurance, 110,000. Cancer coverage, 25,000. Communications and networks is 19,600. Administrative expenses of 45. BOSAC and life insurance, 260. Other expenses, 36,657. Principal and bond interest, $337,106 for a general fund budget of $1,401,363. And then for capital reserve, there's been a slight increase in it from our proposed original capital reserve, because when I did the auto sum up above, it included the year 2023 in the general fund expenditures. So I thought that, you know what I mean? You hit auto sum. You know,
Oh, okay.
So the general fund budget up above is actually $2,023 less than it was on the original proposed. It's just the auto sum right up there. Okay. Luckily, I caught it before we put it on the website. So anyhow, capital reserve equipment is now $318,041. Total expenditures, $1,519,404. The tax rate is $4.30 per $1,000 of assessed value. And then I'm supposed to give the projected capital reserve balance at the end of the year. So for equipment, it looks like we'll have about $225,800 at the end of this year. For the building, $377,400, and for repairs, $52,210 for a total. And our capital reserve year end of $655,410.
Outstanding. So a great summary of all those worksheets that we were shuffling back and forth from a couple of weeks ago. Great job. Thank you. Any commissioners have any questions for Sean at this point? All right. Hearing none, we've heard the proposal. At this point, we'll open up the public hearing comment. Anybody wishing to speak with regard to our proposed budget? Welcome to the shop. Anybody wishing to speak? Anybody wishing to speak? 3 times. Hearing none, consider a motion to close the public hearing. Motion made. Motion seconded. Any discussion? Chris, you won't hear Brian much tonight.
Right. Yeah.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. We did that. Did we vote? No. All in favor? Aye. All right. We've closed the public hearing. Anything else to discuss with regard to the budget? Great job, Bob, and Sean, especially Bob. And we contributed to putting some of this stuff together. So it's you guys make the process easy for us every year. Or I shouldn't say easy, painless. things. I think it's a better word.
We will on the regular monthly meeting agenda, we have to adopt.
Yep, we have to act on this, because
Yes.
we've heard from the public tonight that they seem pretty content with it, so. All right, consider a motion to close the special budget meeting.
Yes.
Brian makes that motion.
You already did that.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? We're closed. All right, let's shuffle some papers here, like Paul probably has to do. Forgo the pledge of allegiance as we just completed it less than 5 minutes ago, and nobody left the room or came in the room since. So I'm not going to make everybody go through it again. Everybody go through it again.
Yeah, now I know the vice president from WFD will probably be coming, but she may not get here until
Okay.
closer to 7. So
Okay. Steve told me that he would not be here. Unless something changed. I don't know where.
And I'm gonna hand you their facility use request, so you'll have that.
Call the regular meeting to order. We do need to do a roll call for that again, please.
Chris.
Here.
Brian. Here. Rich.
Here.
Nick. Here. Dan. Here.
Great. Thank you. Public session. Anybody wishing to speak with anything related to the agenda? Anybody wishing to speak with anything related to the agenda? Hearing none, we'll move on. District building report. Let's hear from Nick or Nick, you got anything?
I don't have anything.
Okay. We'll jump right to Joe. Joe's got lots of papers in front of him.
We had a couple meetings with Ed, and he did one set of drawings, he revised it, he moved a couple things around. The revised set is right here. He said that he was going to try to send you guys a set of these, so you could look at them, have them in your hand. I don't know if we sent them to you,
I haven't seen it yet. Bob, have you seen it yet?
but he did, Bob just gave me this, so it's a proposal of probably some numbers that he drew up. So
Those are some numbers that Ed drew up or that.
this is the opinion, right? Bob?
Yeah,
This is what-
we had asked Ed if he could have something tonight based on what they've come up with so far.
So
Ed didn't think they'd be able to have anything for us tonight because it's too quick. However, about 4:30, he did send his spreadsheet. Sorry for 8.5 by 11. I just didn't have time to put it onto something bigger, but he did give you, and I did get it into Dropbox also. So you have a 8.5 by 11 copy. So this is probably the first you're seeing this too, because
Right.
he did get it to
Is
us.
it in the folder, Bob?
No,
Oh.
that's what I just handed
Oh,
you guys.
Okay.
Yeah,
I didn't look at that file yet.
yeah.
Okay.
But it is in
So-
Dropbox.
I mean, I can,
Joe, why don't you take a couple minutes and just kind of tell us
right.
kind of what's involved and
I
I think what's probably more important for us at this point is how comfortable are you guys with where we are and where we're going?
I would say probably 95%.
Great.
You know, I'll just let you take a quick look at this, so you have an idea of what we're going to say. The old commissioner's office, right?
Okay, so this is the entrance, already.
This is the second floor.
Yep.
So on the old commissioner side, this would be what the executive offices with locked doors. That would be just a little school meeting room, chief's office, and the IT room. Bathroom stays the same in that building.
So we're moving chief's offices over here?
No, because this was the chief's office before, so we just don't have that. This was just an extra office that Sean used to use. So it's just, that goes for the.
Oh, okay, I'm looking at this backwards, sorry, okay. No, I'm sorry.
And we're just gonna utilize the space the best way we can.
Okay.
This meeting room here will be able to hold 125 people, to 130 people, depending on how the configuration of the chairs are. For meetings, for classrooms, for whatever the chief needs to be, the executive people need. If you guys need to go over there and have a meeting, or we're gonna swap back. and forth.
I'd like to begin to do that
And we
again.
can do that. There's gonna be a cutout here. This will be an outside patio type deal. So instead of doing anything else on the grounds for a little bit of outside patio. We're gonna utilize that space right there.
I don't want to cut you off. I think that I'm going to pass this around
Yep.
and I'm going to let everybody take a look at it. It looks like it's well developed. I just want, I don't want to have you have to do this 4 times.
The
4
bathrooms,
times.
we
Yep.
crush the bathrooms.
Kitchen moves to the other side of the
Kitchen
building.
is here, and then that's just another closet
Okay,
for the kitchen.
all right.
Okay.
Pantry, yeah.
And then the second floor, that's the second floor, the first floor, if it's right there, is that the next one?
That's the floor plan. Oh, that's the existing second floor. First floor, here we go.
We're not gonna do any lockers in there. The bathrooms will be cut up with showers in it. The radio, this is where the chief's park right now. So if we need a bunk room, this is gonna get done right away. If we have to do a bunk room, later on in life, we can cut that door in and then we can build that.
Oh, okay.
10 years down,
You're not proposing we build?
no, not now.
Okay. So that's, that means foundation work and everything else.
And then, where the ready room is now, with the storage, and then we may do something with the radio room, just from here, knock that wall down, and have like a little area downstairs, so somebody can, we can sit around the table down there.
Ready room.
Because the offices are going upstairs anyway.
Ready room.
Right, so they can have the coffee, whatever, get everything off the evening floor, and we can have that, so.
I'm gonna start this around so we can take a peek at it.
Right.
Looks good. General impressions of where we are, where we're going, what you and the committee's feelings on it.
And then they're up, the second floor would be like a wide open area, no ceiling tiles except for like the kitchen, the offices, have a ceiling right to the back, sprayed, so an open concept,
On the second,
on the evening floor, yeah. I mean, this is the proposal.
what do we have to hide in mechanicals?
Well, you just got, the ductwork up there is going to be, by changing it's a flex duct anyway, modern fun duct or whatever, and then any electric that's up there now, it's gonna be lighting and then fire alarm, and then that's gonna be redone anyway, so. So, I mean, this is a concept that he looked at, you guys should say no, we can say no for the president right
I just
now.
don't want, 5 years from now, somebody saying, no, we never should have done this, it looks like crap, we want to change it.
The transition is like,
Yeah.
there's no
They
safety.
hang right off the bars. Yeah, it's,
You're talking kind of like what you see like in a group of exposed trusses.
I mean, that's the proposal that he had.
Okay.
Joe, I have the ductwork on it.
With that,
I have.
yeah, I got the ductwork one too, but.
Yeah, let the other guys see it or something.
The one with that,
Looks like you guys have made quite a bit of progress.
Is that a PDF? Have any chance?
Not that we're aware of.
We did not get anything. He will, I'm sure he'll send it and then I'll forward it.
You forwarded PDF, yeah, or if it comes in paper, you have to get 5, 6 copies of it.
Yeah, no, he can send that in PDF, there's no doubt. I'm just saying he didn't send it yet.
right, you know, and I asked him for one, for a thumb drive, so I could make some prints for you guys, or just go over to Staples, or whatever, do it, and he said he was busy this week, so.
Right, what I'd like to see, Joe, is if you guys are like, you said you're 95% comfortable with it. and-
Yeah, there might be, we're gonna do some door changes,
What
door swings, that's all.
Okay, what I'd like to see happen is the next step would be for you and the committee and him, and the committee to come in and make a presentation to the board as to where you are.
I was thinking, and I know you guys are, trying to make, room for budgeting money for all this and all that. December is a really busy month, and November is a busy month for both departments with new nominations and all that.
I get that.
Maybe we either have it on a different night, So everybody get together a different night, and then he can throw it up on a big screen. And anybody in the district or our people want to be there, they can.
Okay.
Or if he wants to come over here, I mean.
Yeah,
I don't know what a good night is, you know.
it's
and I don't know-
probably a good idea to do it over there, because it affects more people over there than here. We have to find a night that work for everybody. Are we, I guess, I'm gonna give these guys a couple minutes to finish looking at it before we discuss it. We'll hold off.
Yeah. I think timing right now is just like,
Well, my thought is, you know, we talked about trying to have something ready for a referendum for the December ballot.
but I
So
mean,
we've got to keep aggressively moving on this. We're gonna make that.
but he did ask about the referendums and all that, and I know Sean was talking to referendum or banking or whatever, however that's got to.
Oh, it's familiarity in my face or something. All right. All right, let's try and get back on discussion on this, and then, if you can leave at least one side of that around, so we can kind of take a little deeper dive after the meeting, that would be a good thing for us, I think. We'll look it over. Sean, the side, there was a lot of sidebar discussions going on there, and that's all right, everybody was trying to see the plans for a minute. Where would we be as far as, what steps do we need to take to be ready to do some kind of referendum?
You know, November meeting, right?
The November meeting is the 14th.
Right.
The last date for publication of the election notice is the 16th.
The election notice was have to have the referendum.
It would have to have the language of the proposition in it. So you, in theory, if you knew going into the meeting of the 14th what you were doing, it was all done, it got to the Troy record on the 15th. It could be published the 16th, which is with absolutely no margin for error. Okay. Alternatively, you could, if you could decide, say by the end of this month, have a special meeting just on to decide that we could have the election notice done with the proposition, have the time to get reviewed, and Sean would have the week, you know, from November 9th to 16th.
I don't want to rush it and screw it up. I don't want to rush it and have us miss a big piece or a chunk, which is always a possibility when we're rushed. But then I don't want to miss the opportunity. So what's people's thoughts? What's your thoughts, council?
You will be accused of rushing it in order to make this annual election, but I think that's the prudent way to do it.
I think it's not, we're not trying to force it. I think we're trying to maximize the amount of people that come out to vote.
Correct, but you got to understand that you are in a no-win situation, okay?
Good.
Because you will be accused of making a hasty decision with respect to this, and there was no time. I've been there for these arguments, okay? If you had the election in January, it's, you know, you were buffoons for not doing it in December. If you have it in June, you were idiots for not doing it in May. So you never, there's always going to be criticism. If you can sharpen your pencils, get to a number, get it refined, know what you're going to need, and be reasonably confident, you can do that by election day, November 8th. Sean and I are in fine shape to do what we have to do. But I would not want to, I really would not want to push it out to November 14th because there's variables in play that we cannot control.
Yeah, the record might not be able to get in.
Or they might say it and they might miss it, and then you missed it on the 16th, okay? And now it's a bond resolution. You know, you can, there's a little bit of fudging you can do on some other stuff with the bond resolution. Everything has to be all T's crossed, all I's dotted. So that would be my concern.
Joe, do you think you're going to have enough time to really get down deep with Ed between that?
Well, the last meeting we had, he had time for an hour. So maybe you guys need to speak with him also, saying, we saw this, we got to make sure what the proposals are and the money is for outside, getting the blacktop done. And then make sure all the numbers that he has filtering through here are what you guys want to see also, because I'm not gonna take the responsibility of seeing numbers that aren't there and say, yeah, go ahead and do it, and then I get shot in the foot.
My fear, you know, and this is something we have to look at, the board has to consider, is that he's gonna come back with a preliminary, this is what I anticipate the bid's gonna be, so this is what the bond's gonna be at. And, you know, 45 minutes later, Sean's gonna come out of a seizure. And because the number is gonna be so high, that, you know, so we have to be ready to, okay, if the number is outrageously beyond what we had anticipated or were considering, where is there room for some cost savings or for some, to bring in some additional?
Well, I mean, I get it, but I think Ed also needs to have another meeting with you guys too, also to explain everything like he was explaining to us at these two meetings. Because you guys are ultimately in charge of this whole project. And if you see that it's not fit to do it, then you're gonna say to him, well, it's not what we were looking for, you know? So I think you need, and Bob wants to say
Bob's done
something.
this with Ed before, I know. So.
Well, okay, so, I mean, I just asked Ed, per Sean's request, like, try and get us something, a cost estimate now, so that the board has something to look at. Sean can say, does this fit into the budget that the board was thinking based on the long-range plan that you just approved? Nobody's looked at that to take a look at the schedule of work that's being performed as to what your committee wants done.
Right.
That has to be done, because right now it's at 1.6
Right.
million. And it would appear to me that a lot has been taken out of that. You guys should, though, take a look at that compared to the last one to
Right.
say, well, geez, you left out this, this, and this. That can't get left out, is
Right.
what I'm just saying to
Right.
you.
I got you.
So, I mean, that would, and I can also take a look at it too, but I mean, I think the committee really needs to look at that first to say, is everything in that scope that he has right there of what you want done?
Yeah,
Right.
and Bob, it's really 1.2, because you know, the between 1.2 and 1.6 is contingencies.
Right, but they have to be factored in.
Oh, I know they have to
Right,
factor
yeah.
in, but he's really only looking at 1.1 in work, so there's gotta be some stuff that's come out of there.
I think there is, and I don't know why it has, but I think that's gonna be something that you guys could do relatively easy, just by looking at that, and then go back to the last cost estimate that he updated about, 5-6 months ago, and say, well, he shouldn't have taken out X, Y, and Z, right? Does that make sense?
I agree, I don't know why he would take it out, unless it's feedback that he got from the committee, and if it's feedback from the committee, then Joey should be aware of it.
Yeah, well, some of the stuff, some of the stuff was, some of the preliminary stuff was outside, where they looked at cutting the banks for, you know, a pavilion, cutting this and cutting that, and doing a lot of outside work on that second level. And I think when he put that turnaround and put that patio in there, a part of that whole outside portion of the ground that was gonna get all dug up and all that.
Yeah.
And they looked at it, and I don't think it would be the smartest thing in the world to do is cut into them banks and everything with those water issues and all that, because that was, you know, on his mind too, being just a costly manner too, so.
We do need to do something to catch that water,
Yeah,
but I don't know
yeah.
that, I don't know that cutting into the bank is the solution to catch it. I'm not an engineer.
Well, so, I mean, I think like in fast order, your committee has to kind of just do a check and balance
Right.
with that sheet he just issued compared to the previous one, just to make sure everything is on there that you want.
Do you have another meeting scheduled?
Do I have another
Do you have
one?
another meeting scheduled with him at this
No, we
point?
just barely got that one the other day, because
Okay. I wasn't sure of the time.
he's a hard guy to get a hold of. He doesn't, I mean,
Busy guy.
I text back and forth, and when I ask him to call me so I can ask him questions,
All right, let's get another meeting scheduled as quick as you can. Where are you guys with bringing this to the Wentzville Fire Company?
We did, I mean, we didn't have this drawing Tuesday,
Okay.
I mean, our meeting night.
Oh, you didn't
So
have
we
it.
gave them the one that's before this upgrade. And, you know, it's just like anything else, 99% of the people are like, okay, and then you get the hands and questions and all that.
You get the three loudest people in the room that aren't.
Yeah.
Okay. I've been there, done that.
On further review, I don't think it's gonna happen at this election.
It's gonna be 30 days.
What?
I'm sorry.
30, no,
I thought the notice had to be 30 days for the bond.
between 27 and 34, so.
Oh,
30. But
Sorry.
when you look at the way you did this project, and it was laid out, there was communication, the numbers were solid, there was good public input. You haven't got time to do that.
No, we don't.
And I think, I know what your expectation is, and you'd be compromising, I believe, the way you do business. As much a proponent I am for doing things at the annual election, hearing what I'm hearing, I don't think you can plausibly pull this off without compromising what your own standards for how you present these things. That's my observation from just hearing what's going on tonight. You don't have a plan for a plan. You don't have, you could go out and say, well, we need $2.2 million or 1 point, but you have nothing substantive to back that
Yeah,
up.
as soon as somebody raised their hand and said, what's that $2.2 million for? Well,
Well, we're not really gonna spend all that. We're just asking for other. And I think, for the cost of having a special election at some time in the future, I just think that's the way you guys do. I just don't think you can be ready in time.
I don't think it's the cost of the special election. I think my point has been right along is that's the night that we would tend to get the most voters out. But I think if we do a good program of educating people, educating on firefighters and families on both sides of town, and just like when this building was built, we made sure people were aware, and Danny was very involved in that. We made sure everybody was aware of what the actual reasons and needs are. I had on record, I had a great conversation with my wife tonight about why this was so important. She didn't realize that we've really done nothing in that upstairs portion of the fire over there. There's really been nothing done up there other than some paint and some work that the members did when they rearranged the walls and gave themselves some visual office space. There's really not a lot done up there in terms of renovation at all since that place was built in the 80s. The bathrooms are essentially, with the exception of new partitions in between the stalls, they're the same bathrooms, they're the same fixtures. We did some work when the condition was built in the 80s and early 90s there, but that building's
Not just the public input, but I think it'd be irresponsible of us to be rushing this like this. I mean, we're in full support of a project. But I would rather take our time, do it right.
I'm fully in agreement.
Get what
because,
you want.
It just seems like if you put too much forward too quickly, and in theory, you agree, something's gonna get missed, something's gonna get messed up, and, he's gonna go through the effort of doing the bonding or the bankroll or whatever he's gonna do, and then we're gonna say, we screwed
And
up.
I'd rather, we don't want to have to go back and like redo say, look out for, oh, we forgot this, a major thing. I'd rather do it and do it right. I'm not concerned about this.
If we can just take a little bit of time, look at this, have Ed come and give you guys a presentation.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to, I appreciate you guys showing us tonight, but it's hard to kind of.
Yeah, but it's kind of like, well, I got this Wednesday or whatever it was, Tuesday, last week, or whatever, Friday. And it's not really fair to me to try to present this to you guys, because you guys are gonna spend $2 million, and then
or more.
if I don't say, because that's what I'm saying. All this stuff we talked about was a lot about what was going on with the structure itself, and not around the perimeter of the building. So he at one point said it was gonna be $400,000 to fix that outside of the building. And because the cost of everything, who knows what that is now? He needs to give a better presentation on that and give you guys.
Well, I think the membership really needs a lot of information too. And
Yeah, and,
That's gonna be our biggest.
and I saw it just in a microcosm of it just a few minutes ago when, you're trying to explain one thing on the plans. They've got another set of plans over there they're looking at. The plans that you and I were looking at slid over there, now they're looking at, it. You and I are having a conversation, and it's like.
I don't think the message should go back to the fire company that we're dragging our feet.
Oh, no.
100%.
No,
Yeah, this is,
We want it to be done.
this is a
right.
go.
It's not, that, trust me when I say, it's never come out of my mouth or anybody else working with me, that you guys are, dragging your feet. You guys have them, we have them. There's always gonna be people there that are gonna throw that knife that sticks you in the back and says, you guys aren't whatever. It happened 80 years ago.
We use an analogy, we swung for the wall to get this done in time for the December election. We got to double that. I'm pleased with where we are. We just got to take a couple more months and squeeze that run out.
And I'm good with that because I was getting nervous there for a minute where you want to, get all this stuff ready for a December vote. And, Eddie really, I mean, he's a great guy and he's very professional in what they do. But I think there's a little bit of lack of communication between the district and him right now. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe it's talking to you guys, and I don't know it.
Let's see if for next month, you guys can meet with him in between. And then, Bob, let's see if we can bring him in for next month to get and bring us up to speed as to where he is, what his expectations are, what he sees as a timeline going forward. And then we can reinforce with him that, yeah, we missed that December meeting, that December mark that we were looking for, but that doesn't mean that this is any less important.
Because even the drawings that he's given you, and you kind of looked around, they are still kind of primitive because there's nothing on the inside structures for anything else, like the AV, the fire alarm, whatever. He's got nothing else drawn in there. I mean, is he gonna have somebody else do that? I don't know that.
Yeah, he's got to take those finalized floor plans and turn them into HVAC, electrical, plumbing, he's got to do his lighting disbursements. He's got to.
Yeah, but they won't do that for pre-referendums,
That's true.
drawings. They're not gonna do that for pre-referendum.
That's true. I'm thinking.
Yeah, that will.
But still, we're
Yeah.
getting it. We're getting it. Any commissioners disagree or want to, any other points?
I know we looked into it here, but it was cost prohibitive. I don't think it hurts to look into putting sprinklers in the building. Has that been
It
discussed
was,
at all?
I mean, it was never really talked about on that side. If you sprinkle the second floor, I mean, it might not be as part of a chore than try to sprinkle the whole place. I mean, I don't know.
I think it's
I
worth
don't know what the
talking
codes
about.
are.
Well, the first floor is an open architecture as well, most of it. And when you think about what the fire district's primary role in life is, I would think it's probably more appropriate that we worry about sprinkling the first floor than the second.
I think you should have a conversation with that.
And we should have that conversation. What would it cost to add sprinklers to it?
That's why I'm bringing it up.
I mean, when the addition was done there in the 80s, I don't even, was there town water there on that
No.
street at that point?
We don't know. Well,
It was all still on wells at that point. Yeah, town water hadn't come around at that better. It was just in the infancy at that point. Hadn't even made it around, so.
maybe 20 years we have water over there now.
Yeah, so, I mean, municipal water wasn't a thing when any of those projects were done before. So now it is, and it's certainly made it a much more viable. And again, the protection that provides the building. I don't know, I remember where it was. I just saw on social media the other day, pictures of a fire station burned under the ground. I don't think it was in state. I don't remember where it was, but it's never a good thing when you see a fire station burned into the ground. Any other questions for committee? Great job. This is really moving forward. We got one set plans we can peek at later. That's great. Any of your other committee members here that got some input? Any input? Chief, David? No. Okay, good. Then, anything else on the WFP projects, anybody? All right, let's move on then. President's report. DFD President's report is attached. Let me get back to that. I got my computer.
Yeah, it's the facility use request, Rich, it's over to your left. Yep.
You got a facility use request here. Yes. We have a facility request for October 26th, which is a Wednesday, about a week from now, week and a day. Yeah, 2002, we're probably not going to be able to approve that. Yeah, in 2002, we're probably going to not approve that. And from Bill, that's a grievous mistake on his part. He usually doesn't make errors like that. Looking for a neighborhood meeting for the Meadows Homeowners Association. Actually, in speaking to them, they're not an association. It's just a group of the homeowners that would like to get together and discuss things going on in the subdivision. So it's not a homeowners association. It's just a group of folk, is the way he worded it to me. So they're looking for just using this room, some chairs, some AV equipment. Anybody have any thoughts on one or the other?
I just have a question, Rich. There's a glad you specified it's not an actual homeowners association.
Actually, I got to question that now, what I said, because how do you get a certificate of insurance from, it says a certificate of insurance received by?
They did, anybody can get one
Was
that's
it-
holding
is
it back.
it from the homeowners association or is it from?
No, it's from like the head of the group that's putting this together.
Okay, all right. Sorry, Dan.
So my only concern is in an effort of being fair to other members and other homeowners associations. So, and I think it's before any of these, you guys were on the board. There was a time where we were getting flooded with these requests from, I don't even know all the names of all these different associations that have cropped up. And we told some other members no. You know,
We have with the fire company, yes.
I believe both. Am I right on that, Bob?
I think the fire company said no, and then the district was like, okay, well, if the fire company is not supporting it, we're not, because there's the rule that there has to be somebody here to supervise it, and that was the requirement from the fire district.
They're the gatekeepers.
So I just
Right,
think we need to
correct.
be, you know, I think if this is like a one-time thing, they want to meet, there's some issues. But if it turns into they want to meet regularly, we need to be prepared. The fire company needs to be prepared to start fielding requests from all of these other associations, which was becoming problematic. And I think it's difficult to say it's an association, well, they're a member, because ultimately they're all taxpayers. So my suggestion would be, if we're gonna approve this, we approve it as a neighborhood group, and it should not be inferred that we're going to necessarily have this be a never ending.
Yeah, one-time use by neighborhood group that wants to get together and discuss.
Or if we are gonna make it regular, then you know what, what's fair is fair. We need to,
And I think we need.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do, absolutely. I think we need to depend on the fire company to be the gatekeeper on this. And they need to keep in mind, as the way that, you know, as the chief pointed out, that the company, I mean, we're getting more and more fireman use out of this facility. I mean, we're gonna be running classes in here 3 nights a week here for the next month or so. There's gonna be classes going. There's a fast class that the Freesville has going on here. Plus there's is it a BFO or an IFO? A BFO class that the county moved here. Plus we got our own drill going.
Right. Well, that's my point.
So I mean, there's a lot of use here.
If you start having 4 or 5 of these associations wanting to meet every month, and, you know, the chief may not know that he has something coming up 6 months from now.
Yeah.
And there's
Yeah, I clearly don't think that we should be approving things 3, 4, 5, 6 months down the road. But, you know, I mean, we can take an occasional one on, I would think, on a non-precedent setting basis. Yeah, but you make a good point. Chief, this doesn't mean this, let me get the date again, October 26th, that doesn't conflict with anything that you've got going as far as any of the training things you've got?
I have to look it up because that schedule is October gets pretty stacked at the end here, so just let me go.
All right.
I have to look up the schedule in my office.
All right, let's hold off on any action on this collector. He's looked it up and had an opportunity to review it. Anything else we need to act on, Don?
That's it from DFD.
Okay. WFD report.
Okay, I have 2 membership applications for you. I have one for Walter Apple for active firefighter. Here you go. One for,
Bring them right up to the ridge.
oh, okay, sure.
Just don't trip on those
This is
wires.
new.
Watch all the watch.
There you go. That's okay. And then I have one for junior firefighter for Alexander Kaplan.
Cool.
They should be complete. And then I also have a building use, facility use request from Sherry Dunham, who's the president of the Ladies Auxiliary. She wants to do an 80th birthday party for her father on Sunday, November 13th. I think it's from 2 to 4. No alcohol will be served. You guys meet next after the 13th. So I talked to Bob about bringing it to you first, and then we can approve it as a membership at our November meeting.
Yeah, just give it the timing of the whole thing.
Yeah, exactly. Any questions for me?
All right, we'll pass these around. Those look like all the boxes are checked on the outside, so I'll let you guys give it a more thorough than I'm able to.
Yes. I got a couple copies of that.
Mr. Apple. There's Mr. Kaplan. I'll start that down. Oops, sorry. And the building use form, as was reported, is for the 13th of November, 80th birthday. 2 to 4. Pretty, I mean, the most potent thing to be served is cake, coffee, maybe some punch.
I
So,
mean, it's gonna be a while, the 80th birthday party.
Yeah, really.
So.
most, I've seen some idiots. Bankers. So, consider any discussion on the building use? Or consider a motion to approve that? Made, motion seconded, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? That carried. Building use is all set. Oh, I gotta sign that, hang on, or forget. Okay, 18, 18, 22, through. All right, that's that. You get that back, it's in your file. All right, anything else to report besides those things?
Thank you.
Very good. Any questions for Wine and Skill Order for April? Commissioner, anything? Nobody? Good. We will move on. Approval of prior minutes. We've got minutes from both the budget meeting, budget workshop, and the regular meeting of September 8th. So we get the September 8th budget meeting, or September 8th regular meeting, and then September 12th budget meeting, budget workshop meeting.
Yeah, that needs to say 8.
It does, that's what I
Yeah,
thought. I thought
it's
we
the
did
8th,
both the same
yeah.
night.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there reading and saying, wow. Okay, so that should be the 8th as well?
Yeah, I'll change it on the agenda.
Okay, so there's the first change on it, change the date. All right, so we got these minutes in front of us. Did everybody have a chance to look at them? They were in your Dropbox. Did anybody see anything that needed to be corrected?
Yeah, and DFD chief's report, the committee was not the long range planning code committee, was the apparatus.
Apparatus, yes. Good catch.
Apparatus. Okay.
Yes, the apparatus, there's an official name for it from the long range,
Yep.
report.
The review committee.
Annual-
Yeah, I
the
got
annual
you.
apparatus
Standing
committee.
fire district apparatus review committee.
There you go, thank you. Thank you. So, any other changes that need to be made? Anybody go on? Good catch. I look right at that. come back and looked at it about 5 minutes ago, pulled names off. All right, and then consider motion to approve both as amended. Motion made. Brian seconds it. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? That's done. Here. Treasurer's report, please.
Share a copy of the treasurer's report in your digital Dropbox. The money market account had a reconciled balance of $903,958.28 of that amount. General fund has a balance of $248,648.90. County reserve equipment has a reconciled balance of $225,773.09 for building. Capital reserve has a balance of $377,327.42, and repairs of $52,208.07. We earned $7.79 worth of interest for the month. The checking account is reconciled at $45,341.79. Interest for the month, $6.45. The bank reconciliations and a copy of the bank, both the money market and the checking account bank statements are attached, as well as the last 4 pages represent, actual expenditures for the year compared to the budget. We're in pretty good shape.
Any questions for the treasurer, treasury report? None? Consider a roll or a resolution, a roll call resolution. To approve the treasury report. So I'm going to make that resolution. Chris, anybody want a second?
Second.
I see Brian's hand with it.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Chris. Aye. Brian.
Aye.
Rich.
Aye.
Dick. Aye. Dan.
Aye.
Thank you. Before we move on to paying the bills, the invoices, I do I'm just going to ask you this, Sean, because I'm reading into it, but I don't know if I'm reading into it right. Can you give us a 20-second snapshot? I'm looking at the decrease in the interest that we've made in the last few months. What has the turn on the market done to our, how bad have we gotten hit?
Well, we're just locked into a money market account that has a fixed rate of interest. The interest rate has been going up because all interest rates have been going up. But prior to this year, we were like less than 0.5% interest rate. But it's going up. However, the balance in the account is going down because we spend so much money on the apparatus and so forth. So that's why there has been a decrease in that.
Okay, so what's happening in the market, what's happening with the NASDAQ and all those other things?
Yeah, we're not invested in them.
We're not, I've had people question me and my answer has been, nobody's running any red flags up that I know of, but I want to make sure that, we're on.
Yeah, I'm not playing with the stock market with too much. So
Rich, or not Rich, Sean, we looked into a high yield savings account, like with an online bank. Are we even eligible? I don't even know if that's.
I think we have to use a New York State commercial bank. Is that correct?
Yeah, the commercial bank, but I don't know that you're required to use New York. I thought it was commercial bank.
I mean, some of them are paying over 2%.
Live Oak.
Marcus, what is it?
Live Oak.
Marcus is 3.5.
But there is which I had to find out, do more research on it because I'm a treasurer for a cemetery. We have like some money and it's been in CDs, which is less than 0.5%. But I met with Kevin, a financial advisor from KeyBank, and they offer annuities. And it was paying over 3% on those annuities. No fees, but it's pretty much like a CD. You're locked into it. At the higher rate, I think it was 3.5%, you're locked into it for the term, whatever it might be, a year or 2 years. Yeah, I know. And then,
Blow a motor, you blow.
right, but there was a
Blow the
law,
truck over.
but you can take it out and then there's a penalty, just like a CD. But then there was a lower one, I think it was 2.5 and you put it in there, you have to leave it in there for the first 6 months, but you're committed to a year. But after the first 6 months, you can take anything out and go on without that. So but I asked him, I said, can fire districts do that? And he was gonna investigate it because it's not the traditional conservative locked into a, CD or a money market account. So he was gonna research that.
Times have changed, and I think we need to look at some of that stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean,
Especially the rates going up.
I don't know who put it in there. I don't know if it came from a member of the board or just somebody from the, I don't know who, but
Yeah.
there was an article in the Advertiser talking about this district and what we were doing financially and planning, and it spoke fairly well of us last week. But it did make a mention of, looking at doing things to maximize taxpayer dollars, so to speak. So I think we need to look at some of those non-conventional things that may do just that. David, you had it.
I missed that article.
It was in the Advertiser.
I don't know who wrote it.
No, the Advertiser publishes these things that they start out like an article, but you can clearly tell it's a letter to the editor, but then they don't put a name at the end of it.
Right.
It says, I attended the meeting of the North Greenwich Fire District, and they're doing this, and this. It was all accurate, so I had nothing to dispute.
No, I'm
it.
not saying it's bad, but it's just odd that we don't know where.
Yeah, we didn't know where it emanated from. David, you agree with the point? Thank
The
you.
Yankees.
Pardon?
Woo!
The Yankees won, thank you.
I do have one other thing Terry might know a little more about, but being at FASD has a credit union. And I guess the Association of Credit Unions got it through the assembly. Maybe, Terry?
Yeah, it's not there. We're still not.
Yes, which said had to go to the Senate.
Yeah, it's got, yeah.
So let's look at that, see if there's some things that we can do.
Yeah, so I had explored that.
Completely legal, that don't tie our hands from being able to do something with our money, but yet we can maybe, we could go out and sell a couple pancakes and make more than $10.58.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know.
It's a sad thing. All right, so let's move on. Any other questions for Sean on the treasurer's report? Thank you for that, Sean.
Yeah.
Approval of the current month's invoices. Dan, you had the honor and duty to go through them. Did you find anything that,
Just one thing I'll point out, the first net bill is a little over $1,500. We're expecting some credits. And there's a few folks, myself included, as you know, the district will provide whatever phone is free. That will always for a phone that was not free. We're gonna hold off on asking members, or not members, but commissioners or staff to pay that until Bob or I go through the bill with Jamie Cooper, our representative. We're not implying that it's wrong, but we're expecting some credits, so that might take a few months.
okay, so you're gonna kick that back and forth once or twice?
Yeah, I think we should pay the bill.
Okay,
But before people write checks to the fire district, let's just make sure all the credits and stuff are applied.
okay.
That's all I've got.
Anybody else have questions or comments with regard to the invoices? Hearing none, consider a resolution to pay the bills.
Do you want to split it up? Because Dan, you're on one of them.
Yeah, consider the resolution to pay all the bills except for the one that Mr. Garrett is on. All but that one. Make a resolution. Brian, second by Nick. Any discussion? Roll call vote on that, please.
Chris? Aye. Brian? Aye. Rich?
Aye.
Nick? Aye.
No, I'll vote on this one.
Oh, I did.
Sorry. Aye.
And I will make a resolution to pay Dan's bill because I did review it prior to this meeting. So I'll make the resolution. Somebody want to second it? Chris seconded it. Any discussion on that? Roll call vote, please.
Chris? Aye. Brian?
Aye.
Rich?
Aye.
Nick? Aye.
And Dan.
Sorry.
Now that you've approved it, I'll tell you what it's for. That was for the Apple Care for 2 years. It comes out to like $8 a month versus like the 11 something the district was paying. But in order to buy, you gotta do it on your phone because they run a test or something, so it saved the district money in the long run.
Great. Moving on to correspondence. Steve, Bob?
KeyBank FDIC insurance assets ending in 9/30/2022. See the letter to Chief Littlefield from in Granham Solar. That's the project over on WFT side. We received our AFG award letter package from the federal government. And we also received the check from BFIS regarding the claim, minus the $500 deductible for the damage to truck 42. It was $5,208.31. Nothing sent.
Okay. Any questions for Bob on correspondence?
That's on the AFG grant, at 6,000 to 5%. That's the county's paying that.
Yes.
Yeah, we had a meeting, somebody's aware of, it now. We had a meeting with all the principals involved in that the other day, and essentially it's coming down to attorneys talk to attorneys, so we're gonna get the two attorneys speaking to each other to see if they can hammer something out. And that's, you know, we're fully confident that Terry will look out for our best interests, and we're fairly confident that the county attorney will do the same for the county, but we think we can come up with something that's gonna be workable. That I made it clear to Jay and to Paul Glasser that this district, one, couldn't be out on the hook for any length of time on paying a bill to a vendor and then waiting a long time for reimbursement. That's really out of their hands, because most of the reimbursement comes back to the feds. All right, so it is what it is. Having worked the grants before a number of years, yeah, there's a delay, but it's usually no more than 60 days. It's usually within the 30 that the money comes back. They credit it pretty quick before the paperwork is done right. But I also made it clear to them that we could not be left hanging at all for the 5%. There had to be no ambiguity about, well, you know, we really can't afford that. That's going to have to wait till the next budget cycle. No, none of that. We can't be playing any of that game. So Jay and Paul took that message back, and I don't think there's going to be a problem with that.
Like the surplus, I think they come for it.
Yeah, I think so. They were, you know, I a couple times during the course of the meeting, I said, well, you know, we can always put those props out back here. And then, oh, no. You know, so they reacted quite well to that. All right, under old business. Anything to be brought up under old business? We don't have anything hanging that was left out there as a reminder. Did anybody remember anything that should have been there? Moving on, new business. We've got the CME contract with Lynn Kane, who's our CIC that does that for us for 22-23. Bob, you got details?
Yes, no changes in the cost or the hours she's providing. Terry did look it over. He had no issues. The only thing is it actually started on September 12th. She didn't send this until that day. So whatever you do, I would just ask that if you do it retroactive to that date, but everything is exactly the same.
Okay. Consider then a resolution, or any questions on that first?
The chiefs, I guess. You guys have any concerns?
Issues with that CMA contract? I haven't heard any to this point. The feedback I get from talking to EMTs on both sides of town is that they're very pleased with what they're getting for their services. Consider then a resolution to extend the contract from September 12th for a 1-year period. Made by Nick. Anybody second it?
Second.
Brian seconds it. Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Chris. Aye. Brian.
Aye.
Rich.
Aye.
Nick. Aye. David.
Aye.
That's passed. Election motions and resolutions. What do we do with regard to that? My paperwork.
They are available in the Dropbox.
That's why I can't find paper.
Yeah, you got it.
It's in the Dropbox.
Or you gave you paper copies.
No, you told me not to. You want to kill trees.
Election resolutions. How many are there? All right,
You want me to just summarize them?
yeah, why don't you do that?
Okay,
rather than-
so the first resolution is to assign November 28th as the date in which the Board of Elections will prepare the rolls. And that will convene at 6 p.m. And districts 1, 3, and 7 will be held at WFD. And districts 2, 4, 5, 6, and 8 will be here at DFD. So we're designating the 28th for the preparation of the final rolls of eligible voters.
Okay, consider a resolution to do that. Chris? Anybody want to second that resolution? Okay, any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Chris?
Aye.
Brian? Aye. Rich?
Aye.
Nick?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
Okay, next resolution,
The next resolution is pursuant to section, well, we're all set, section 175A of town law, and this is to, I do have a typo in the date, but to appoint the Board of Elections, Mark Lasavita being the election chairman, James Oliver being the election inspector at WFD, Joe Hogan, a ballot clerk, Janice Kerwin, a ballot clerk, Jim Minor, a ballot clerk, William Stewart, election inspector here at DFD, Tim O'Connor, Michael Ashman, and Jason Strasberg as ballot clerks here at DFD, and to be paid a amount of $70 for their participation in the election and the roll call, I think, or not roll call, the preparation of the final rolls.
any questions related to that resolution? Somebody want to make the resolution? Brian? Oh, hang on.
Rich, Chief, yeah,
The name?
yeah, I'm just on my tongue.
Oliver, Hogan, Janice, Jimmy Minor?
Minor, he's out of the district.
No, you still living on,
Still
still living on Wingham? He's
No,
trying
he's
to-
not.
No, he's not.
Oh, he's not?
No, he's living with his family member, that's true.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
That's right, good point. I'll check to see where his family member lives.
Okay, find out where
Yeah,
family member
yeah.
lives, if we got a substitute in.
Good.
Maybe Brunswick.
I know he's moving to Brunswick, but it's not until
Okay.
December.
Did you have Michael Ashman on there?
Yes,
Yeah, he has to be on.
Mike's on there.
Good, thank you.
Okay, so.
I even texted Jimmy. He said,
He may have more than, you can have more than one residence. He may be voting from, unless he's physically given up that residence.
That was in the paper, I think it's so.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, okay.
I'll figure it out. I'll text him.
All right, we'll act on that if we have to.
Yeah, I'll text him right after we get done.
So we got the resolution date. Anybody want to second it? Danny seconds it. Any discussion? Roll call, vote, please.
Dan? Nick? Rich? Brian? Chris?
And the final resolution.
Okay, then we have a
Oh, a
resolution.
couple motions, I'm sorry.
A motion to post the legal notice, because there are 2 seats, correct? We're gonna have
Yes.
Rich's up, and then we have the one that Chris is doing, but that's a 1 year that expires December 31st, 2023, I believe.
Yeah, these dates gotta be,
Date.
the date's gotta be fixed in this.
Oh, did I do a typo?
Commencing on, says January 1, 2021.
Oh, there we go, another one. Word typo. Damn it. Okay. Thank you, Rich. So I'll fix that January.
Let's go through these, go and clean up the dates on them.
Yeah, I thought I did. There's so many dates. All right, so for two spots, one's a 5-year term, one's the remainder of the 1-year term. And I have to post that notice in the record between November 9th and November 16th. And then I have to post it on the town's website and their bulletin board between November 23rd and November 28th. And I have to post it on the district's website no sooner than November 23rd, no later than November 28th. That's motion. Did I get that all right, Ted? Except for that,
You can't make that motion. I'll make it then. I'll make the motion. Anybody want to second the motion? Seconded by Nick. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor? Aye. And finally, the last one is a motion to request the secretary to send a letter to County Board of Elections requesting the And it's
Ready
already
to go in the
in
mail.
the envelope with the stamp on it.
Ready to go.
So he's already spent our stamp without this motion being approved.
I already passed out checks without me.
Make the motion.
Motion made, motion seconded, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. You're all set with that. You
Thank
can,
you
you
very
can, you can spend that 20, how much is stamp these days? I don't know. Terrible. 60. All right, so we got the election motions taken care of. Turn the page. Chiefs reports.
Wait, I just had one.
Oh, sorry.
On a new business. I should have emailed this out in advance. I did earlier. There was an article in the Times Union. I don't really know if it applies to us, but I thought it was at least worth bringing it up. That the Capital District Transportation Committee is looking for local and regional transportation initiatives related to electric vehicles and some other things, planning and infrastructure. Project proposals may be submitted by cities, towns, villages, and counties within the metropolitan area. They're not limited to urban centers and encourage communities that may not have staff planners or previously worked with the committee to consider applying for small, medium, or large-scale planning projects. I'm not going to read the whole article, one last paragraph. Nonprofits, neighborhood groups, and other organizations will also be considered. So anyway, I just don't know, eventually people are gonna have electric cars at those stations, and is it worth looking at? I sent the article out, maybe it doesn't even apply, but
Take a look at it.
I mean, it's free money.
Theoretically, we could apply for an EV or two and see what
Well, I was thinking more if it's the infrastructure, like a charging
charging
station,
stations.
If that's even an applicable, there's a webinar on 2 days from now. Which I can't go to, it's in the middle of the school day. But I think it's at least worth reading the article, and I was just thinking, hey, if you can get a charging station
Take a look at it.
at each firehouse or whatever, if you're able to take a look at it, maybe log on. I know I can't Thursday, but.
Okay, I'll take a look at it. I can tell pretty much for a variety of other reasons. I know I won't be available Thursday, but I don't know who might be, but we can take a look at what that's about. As I say, two EVs and take that.
Well, it doesn't really look like it's for cars. It looks so much like probably the infrastructure.
I was trying to get a rise to the Chiefs to say, about the couple EVs for next year's Chiefs vehicles, but
I think,
I'm not even getting any emotion out of them on it.
I'll drive it, but I'm not working.
but I think an idea of a charging station.
That's worth it.
For each.
I'll take a look at the article. See what we can do. Good point. All right, sorry about that. We can note myself right, forget it. Let's jump to those Chiefs reports. Chief Burkhardt, what do you got?
Bonnie sent out a report. September was a pretty slow month. I think there was only 22 calls. So good in that aspect, but we did have a busy month with some actual calls going on. Route 43, we had an accident with a rollover. I did submit the bill for reimbursement for the lunch because we were out there for about 4 hours. So guys have been kind of hungry, angry. So nice to beat them. Had a dump truck fire that ended up taking up a couple hours of our time. So nothing big with that. I'll be sending out a report to you guys in regards to the letter I'm going to forward to the sewage treatment plant and several others in regards to our concerns as the fire department, fire district, for issues that we found down there. I think I got about 27 bullet points of concerns and suggestions. So I'll forward that to the board before I send that out, just for you guys to review and see. People in the fast class are going to be happening here, obviously, this month. People's already started. Also, the 26th should be good for.
26 should be good.
Yeah, it actually escaped through.
Missed.
Yeah, like literally just missed the margin between all the classes. So
Okay, good.
And we just had a good fire prevention day last week, so everybody was happy with that.
Any questions for the chief? We'll handle the purchases at the end, I'm sure. I'm sure that Chief Billfield's gonna have a couple purchases too. Chief, what do you got for us?
All right, you should all have the stats for the month of September created by Mr. Oliver. Pretty much the same as Chief Burkhardt was saying, we're in the 20s. Same activities, we ended up out in Post Hill for a couple of serious car accidents. And everyone did a great job. Chief Rupert and his team were very thankful to have the support from North Greenwood. All right. For fire prevention, we did fire prevention on the 12th. We went to Garden Dickinson, talked to pre-K all the way through 8th grade. We went to St. Jude's, talked to every class there. Little Red, all 3 classes. The North Greenbush Preschool, the Jacksonville Preschool, Viking Daycare, and then we finished off our day at St. Jude Apartments. So at St. Jude's, we had about 40 of their residents, even though they didn't give them food, but they promised. But there were about 40 residents there. We discussed not only the NFPA topics with the CDC guidelines, but we also discussed St. Jude specific items. One issue that came out of that was we ended up being invited into a couple of the apartments to discuss the stove fan issues that we all know and love. And we found some issues there that I discussed with Commissioner McCray to get his guidance from a code standpoint. So those are going to be brought up at a later date. On the 13th, we went over to Blooming Grove Senior Housing, spoke to roughly 30 of the residents over there on the same topics for fire prevention, and also some specific stuff for Blooming Grove Senior Housing. We got the Knox boxes up to date in both facilities with all the contact information. So those were some very good and a lot of positive feedback from the residents. They were very glad to see us. Other than that, we hosted in conjunction with the town on October the 8th, the Community Emergency Services Day. I think that was attended pretty well. A lot of people had some good time there. On October the 14th, with the board's approval, 427 was the only engine on display at the Vandermolen Customer Appreciation Day.
Was the only engine on this line?
The only engine.
You know, I looked at the area and I said, didn't they go? Where were they inside?
Yeah, it was inside, kind of the centerpiece between the poker tables.
Nice.
It was not the only yellow truck, but it was in the middle. So,
Very nice.
there were a couple jokes about it had to be inside, so it didn't turn red. But a few of the members went up there and had some good food and some good times, and got to see some of the people that we only meet on the phone. And then on October 30th will be the town Halloween parade that basically takes up Main Avenue for a few moments while the kids do their costume parade, and then ends at the town hall with all the events there. So we're looking forward to that. Some repairs that we've gone through. My car went and got serviced today at Farrah's, along with Squad 4.2 and Utility 4.2. So those are complete for the year. My car still has a recall on it. Car 2 has a recall on it, and they're waiting on parts to come in, so on and so forth. Car 3 got serviced, and it had both recalls completed. Part of that recall was the airbag, so now we have a busted dashboard that GM doesn't cover.
Say that again now?
Apparently, when they replaced the airbag in the Tahoe on the passenger side, there's no way to get that out of there without breaking the rest of it. So there's a chunk, probably about 3/4 of an inch, missing from the dashboard of the Tahoe.
So they recalled it,
Yep.
made a repair that broke it.
Yep.
And that's our problem?
Not covered under the recall. So I don't think it's anything integral that, the airbag doesn't work, but now we have a busted dashboard. So
It's not what, it's not. It's cosmetic, is what you're saying?
No, it's on, it should be on us.
Oh, it shouldn't be on us.
GM corporate said that they did not cover that.
So who did the work?
Didn't know where.
Can you get some paperwork, Bob? You got paperwork on any of that, or we get to Bob, we'll see how we can follow up.
Did they damage it?
Yeah.
I mean, was it like an accidental damage or was it part of when they removed the airbag?
Part of the process, taking the airbag out, there's apparently no way to do it without breaking the dash.
Can you get us some paperwork and some photos?
Okay.
And we can follow up on that?
Yeah.
That's a little bit crazy, but, you know. You made your repair, but sorry, we damaged your vehicle.
At least reach out, say, you know, I could do is damage it by damaging it, tell us first, give us the option.
Yeah.
Break the truck and say we had no choice. Did have a choice, you could have called us first and said, do you want us to break this to do this?
You know, I mean, sometimes if something's worn out, you know, and I guess this analogy is, I'll use is one that happened to me not too long ago. I wanted some tires rotated and the lug nuts had swollen because they had the chrome caps on them. And they busted and I had to replace them. Okay, well, yeah, that's on me because the lug nuts were bad. But if the dashboard was in perfectly good shape and they broke it trying to make the repair, then that should be it. So, all right, so get us some information, get us a couple pictures and we'll chase that one down a little bit. I just spent a significant amount of money with Bill Asprey on buying a personal vehicle. The district just bought a vehicle from him here in the last couple months. So we might have a little bit of leverage in making a phone call or two.
Rescue 42 got a brand new alternator. There were some other gremlins, but they were all electrical, so the alternator not having the proper voltage going to things. Some of the other outlying issues on the rescue truck parts are starting to appear. So Vandermolen will be coming in and knocking out the rest of that list.
Good.
427 seemed to make it through the month without anything. Truck 42, no word on where the slide locks are. So I spoke to Vandermolen today. They don't know where they are. Apparently they're made and they're on the way, but they're apparently on a slow boat from somewhere. So they can't give me a solid date on when they're going to have everything ready to get the truck up there. And get it done.
So he wants to have all the parts on hand before he starts getting the truck up there.
They want to have everything, so we just do it all.
That makes sense.
Because it's all going to be tore apart anyway. So.
Okay.
And then the squad. So earlier in the year, I discussed with the board squad 42, and it's, you know, roughly at that 10 years of service. So I got a proposal from the Gallons Night Company who built the truck in 2012, and we went down a list of known issues and possibilities with the truck. Mr. Epstein, who created this document, actually came out to the firehouse in person and went through the truck with me, item by item. So I believe you guys have it in your own pocket, right?
Yes.
So what we're looking to do here is update some of the stuff that's broken. The new Knox box would be installed in the truck now. For those who aren't aware, the old Knox box is actually part of the center console in this truck. So in order to put the new one in, they have to rebuild that cover. So it's bending some metal and doing some spray paint and replacing all the warning stickers. Let's see. The first topic here is the 30-inch Summit seam lighting. What that is currently on the truck, there's a 30-inch light bar that's a red and white combination. The lenses are all broken.
Well, what?
Broken.
Broken.
Yeah. It's a possibility that it could have been a ice freezing, cracking type of issue. It doesn't appear that there's any malicious damage to the truck. But the lenses are broken. They're starting to become a problem. And that light is no longer available after 10 years. So they're looking at approximately $1,590 to put a modern version of that light on. This light would also give us additional seam lighting to the front of the truck. It would be controlled in the cabin. Replacing the switch for $300, the Knox box for $300. Fixing the pole light warning device. That truck has a light and a buzzer. And without getting into it, tearing the truck apart, sitting in the garage, we're not really sure what part isn't working. Mounting the Milwaukee charger, just like we did in the 7s, so that those don't make their way out of the compartments. Couple of lighting things. The one issue in the truck is the body itself has a separate electrical system. And when the truck is running, not plugged into the shoreline, it has an intermittent flickering of the compartment light. So we're thinking it could just be a corroded ground or something like that, but without crawling into it, we're not really sure.
Is it LED lighting in the compartments?
Yes.
Could just be a alternator thing, because that's, depending on the age of the LED lighting, that's fairly common with LED lighting, it's just picking up a flicker from the alternators.
And then the 8th topic here, they just have the visual inspection of the apparatus. While the tech is working in the truck, if you see something else, they put a dollar amount in there just to arbitrarily cover something here and there. The truck would be worked on at the facility. It's the same facility who built the truck. It's the same people who built the truck. So it would be out there for probably 2 or 3 days and then be ready to rock and roll.
I guess my question on this one, I'll be the bad guy to ask it, is why is it necessary for this, I'm looking at the type of work that's going to be done here. Why is it necessary to go back to Calamite versus any of the local shops that could probably do this at the same or less cost?
John Knight's the one who built it. The same guys who wired the truck, built the body, made all the metal folds and everything. They're all still in place. They have all the dimensions. To do this at a local person, they basically have to start all over again because they don't know how the truck was built. They don't have all the dimensions. So it's just easier to take the truck 2 hours to the people who built it and have them go through it. They know all the wiring, they know the issues of the truck.
I'm not dismissing that, but I just wanted to hear what the rationale was.
And the labor rates are pretty consistent with shops now, so.
Yeah. And you're proposing this as an immediate, or is this, you're looking to do this in 23? What's your thought?
I can do it whenever the board approves. And if the board wants to cut an item or 2 out of it, I'm fine with that. It's just, the truck's 10 years old and, you know, it needs to get once over.
My gut tells me to wait and see what the truck company repairs come in at. But we got to do both anyway, and we're only looking at, what was the number here, 30?
Less than 4.
Yeah, it's less than 4. I would think there it is. 3920. John, where are we? It's 3920 to.
How much for my treasurer's report?
The truck, we have the preliminary is 27 and 5.
Yeah, trucks are about 20, trucks are less than 30. Yes, remember that.
How's it gonna get there also?
This says
Yeah,
WFD is going to transport,
Okay.
which means presumably you're going to send a couple guys down with it back. It's going to cost us some fuel and some a meal or something.
Actually, they buy the one.
Oh, they buy all this down there?
So right now, TFT is just about at their $55,000 expenditure for, we budgeted 105, so
Yeah.
just split it in half between the two of them.
Yep.
And WFT is slightly above budget for maintenance repairs by $3,000. So we're already at budget for apparatus repair, without considering any expenditures we're making tonight that you already approved. So generally what happens is around this time of the year, I go through and
Start shuffling.
start shuffling, and then we do a resolution to modify the budget to move some money around.
So overall, we do a $4,000 project.
It's actually more, I think, you know.
Pardon?
Items 4 and 7 to be determined.
Okay, yeah.
But I mean, to me, it's repairs. When they take the stuff, so we're gonna end up in the same pool. So yeah, the long range plan. Talking about this.
We got to do the stuff. We got to maintain the apparatus.
I wouldn't do a piece of one because we're having to do the work. You do it all on stop.
Rich, I would only suggest that if we wait until next month so that because we're gonna have a discussion in a moment here about the chief's proposed purchases as well, that I really need to go through and compare the actual to the budget and make some massages for resolutions next month. So
All
that.
right, so let's sit on this for at least later in the meeting, if not like next month,
Probably next month, yeah.
because we're halfway through this month anyway, so. All right, let's sit on this for a little bit. Anything else you got, Chief?
No,
Okay,
that's it. I talked to Commissioner McCray about the solar project on Winter Street, so I got some advice on what we're gonna do with that as well.
My apologies, I didn't get that letter, I got sidetracked. The initial letter we sent with it, I gotta get that to you tomorrow.
Okay. And then, for purchases, we replenished our speedy dry stash due to the incident on Main Avenue. It was quite a mess. Food that we purchased today of fire prevention, trailer hitch for utility 4-2, and then a tick that would close out the ticks for the district on rescue 4-2.
and so we've got, for our consideration, we've got the hitch, we've got the quotes here for that. We've got quotes for the MSA tech at 8,300 from, where's that from? Garrison, I guess?
Yes.
That's Garrison. And then we've got a battery powered PPV fan to mounts, also from Garrison, for the freezing load. So we've got those to consider. Sean, you said you had some.
So, I send the chiefs out their expenditures every month, you know, what they spend so far. And line skills I'm just doing it easy numbers, about 20,000, and DFDs at about 30,000.
Remaining?
No, that's what they spent through September.
Okay,
Now, Bob provided me with a list of expenditures that are gonna be going through this month, between now and December.
stuff that's already been approved.
Yeah, like gear and so forth.
That we haven't paid for yet.
Right, so there's 31,000 for DFD and there's 15,000 for wine and skill. So it puts us at about $95,000 out of their $100,000 budget that's been spent.
So we've got 5 left and we've got proposals here for
17.
13, 17.
So my only thought again, Rich, on that would be is, again, if I go through, do my reconciliations like I do near the end of the year in November, then we work with the chiefs to see what we can
Yeah.
get purchased, you know, what we have left over and make
These are
proposed.
good ideas and these are things that we need to do, but we're reaching the end of the budget year and we don't know what's left. The money is not like it used to be where we could bounce it from one category to another.
Sorry to be that again.
All right, so let's.
Just a reminder to the board and Sean that the MSA program that they have for the ticks does expire December 2nd, but we would still be good, Sean, if you were to have some kind of recommendation to the board for next month, that you would still meet that December 2nd time.
Do either of you intend on coming in with any additional purchasing requests for the November meeting?
That would be the last of my big purchases. So other than little odds and ends.
This is the last year big one?
Yeah.
How about you, Chief?
I'm done.
You're done?
The
All right,
tick is the last.
so we sit on these until the November meeting and then act on them based on some numbers that Sean can crunch.
It's only a couple weeks.
It's only a few weeks away. So you've got these and you've also got the Gallon's Night proposal. So if you can somehow figure out how we can do that and not end up in debtor's prison.
This will be me.
Well, it's, but maybe it's.
You come visit, right?
And Rich, on the calendar night one, I don't think he's got a date on here that expires, so. I think he's well aware
Okay.
have to change everything, so.
I didn't see anything that get into a quick peek. No, just says, let them know if we have any questions. It's dated October 7th, so it's only a week and a half old. All right. Any other questions for Chiefs at all?
Just have one
Comment, go ahead, Dan.
one quick thing, the chief and Bob. I know tonight, Mansfield's having a drill where they're burning the old utility van. Did we ever pass, if we didn't, we should, tonight, a resolution declaring that surplus.
Were they burning?
Didn't we take care of that a few years ago with the insurance and stuff?
Wait a second, I missed something. What are we burning?
Well, there was a possibility of burning the old Time Warner van.
Oh,
Dollar van,
It's up in
It's still
flames as we speak.
but, yeah.
I had no idea that was still around.
Here it is.
The free van. Okay, I remember that.
I think.
Sean, you remember the free van?
Yeah, yeah, I remember. $20,000 later.
I think, to be on the side, err on the side of caution, let's pass one now. Doesn't hurt, right?
Holy, don't you think,
If
Dan?
we pass one,
You gotta do that or make an insurance claim.
Well,
No, the insurance.
I know we have a people with Sonic push.
Insurance is off.
Would somebody like,
Right.
would somebody like to make a
I make a
resolution?
resolution to declare the old, utility Ford 2 van surplus and authorize the,
Disposal.
fire district to, burn it in a training exercise.
I believe it's a 97,000.
With a value of less than
Yeah.
$20,000, probably very less than $20,000.
Right.
Yeah. I'll add that in.
$40 is scrap metal right now. And would somebody like to second that resolution? Brian? Oh, roll call vote, please.
Chris. Aye. Ryan.
Aye.
Rich. Nick.
Aye.
Dan.
Aye.
And Mr. Hannigan, this better not show up in one of your commissioner's glasses.
Yeah.
He's got the pictures on his computer.
Actually, it would be funny to put, this would be a funny one to add in there.
I'll tell you a funny story offline.
Oh, boy. That's good. Thank you, Dan, for a little bit of levity. That's good. Good stuff. Where am I here? Let's see. All right, apparatus and equipment. We got some stuff to do here. Take care of the easy stuff first. We've got all 6 names now for the standing district, standing fire district apparatus review committee. And those remember from the long-range planning report, that was one thing that came back very resonant with us, that this is something we needed to do every year. And they were looking for, the report was really looking for a consistency in doing this. So this isn't a committee that we should just toss out the window every year or reappoint a new one. These guys, the people on this committee should be reappointed every year, unless there's reason for them not. Maybe they don't want to anymore, they can't. It shouldn't be because I don't like that guy, or I like this guy, or I'd rather have him do it now. We should try and keep this as consistent as we can for as long as we can and make minimal changes to it. I don't really know that we need to put any guidelines or rules or procedures that say only a certain number can be changed every year. I don't even know if we could do that, but we're really looking for some consistency here. So the 6 names that we have were previously proposed were from the phrase flow were Brandon Galligan, Jeff Steer, and Keith Slewski. And now being proposed for Wine and Skill are Jonathan Carroll, TJ Fitzpatrick, and Scott Kennedy. And I'm deliberately not putting titles with any of them because we're appointing the people and not the position. And hopefully with some longevity, these guys will stay with it for a while, regardless of what their title is. So, and obviously the other 2 members of that committee would be the 2 commissioners assigned to the apparatus and equipment that this year are Chris and I. So I would consider a motion to appoint those 6 and the 2 commissioners to that standing committee. Motion made. We can second. Motion seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? Thank you. And we'll try and schedule something. Even if we don't get, Joey pointed out earlier, it's a little busy right now. Even if we don't get this before the end of the year, we get these guys into it right after the first of the year and get some assignments out. And wasn't that long ago that the apparatus needs committee looked at it. So as long as they're into this by April, May, taking a good deep look at the trucks again for another year, and we report back, and we can act on it and make sure our schedules are on track. Next thing I have on apparatus equipment is, and I'm going to preface this by apologizing. This stuff all started coming in the middle of the week, last week, and make a long story short, my brother-in-law died late last week of getting progressively worse, and he passed away. So I've been kind of tied up with all that and dealing with, not that I'm making funeral arrangements or anything, but all the siblings are coming into town, and I'm making sure that everybody's got housing and staying where when we doing the dinners and all that bullshit. So I've been focusing on that. But we did meet last Tuesday afternoon, or Tuesday evening, to discuss where we are with utility 9. And I think we're ready to make a proposal here to be able to go to bid. And it's right up until the end, we were looking for a turnkey project, one vendor does everything. And we got information back from the one vendor we were working with. Let me make sure I still got that one sheet in front of me. I just have it on the screen. Hang on just 1 second. Let me see if I got it. Not there. All right, we got information back from Joe Champagne on the specification first off, and we're very comfortable with that. And I need to go through the final specification and fill in a couple blanks of things that we decided in the last meeting or two, and just make sure that the language is all consistent. And then we're ready to go to bid on it. What did change was that Joe was working up quotes for us to potentially just stripe it in white, to wrap it in all red, wrap it in half red, or paint it in either half red or all red. And based on his numbers and his quotes on doing all that, the committee was leaning towards, didn't take a final vote, but the committee was leaning towards probably ought to just leave it white and go with it. All right. And that's because the wrap, I don't have the sheet in front of me. Rough numbers, to half wrap the truck was about $5,500, and William, correct me if I'm off on these. To fully wrap the truck was about $8 grand. All right. To paint and half paint, we were looking at $9,500 and $12,000, or those were $11,000, $12,000. Those were the two numbers: half paint, full paint. All right. So we looked at that and we said maybe we'll leave it in white and just stripe it. The night of the meeting, as we were sitting down for the meeting, Bob came in with an email that had come in late that afternoon from Stripes. And Stripes came back and said they could do the wrap. They could wrap the entire vehicle in red for $3,600. All right. Or they could wrap the sides similar in size, no hood or roof, similar to Utility 4.2 for $2,400. Or they could just do the striping as they had done for Utility 4.2 at another cost. All right. So we looked at those two prices for wrapping and said, that puts putting the red back on it back in a reachable cost. So now we were at $3,600 for fully red, $2,400 for no hood, no roof. The committee is recommending that we do the hood but not the roof. So it's probably going to be somewhere in between with stripes, all right, for a cost of roughly $2,800, all right. And then we put the rest of the package out to bid to be done turnkey on the rest of it. All right. I have not talked to Joe about that. Him and I passed phone calls today, and we weren't able to catch each other. I was on a phone call with my siblings when he called me back. When I called him back, I tried to even get him. So that's not a big deal. But we would go to bid on the rest of this. I don't see that being a problem. It's just that we would have to, as we said before, we would get the wrap all done and then send it to him to get the rest of the work done. So that's where we are with it. The ballpark cost that we've got to do the majority of the work, and the spec we're looking at, is essentially the same lighting package that we looked at when we considered getting the lighting done in the initial purchase, with some changes that were all done on Utility 4.2 out of necessity. Additional side lighting, front and rear lighting that wasn't there, grill lighting, rear lighting, some compartment lighting, some bed lighting, that kind of stuff that wasn't in that initial spec. So that would be the lighting package of it. Essentially, the design of the truck is the pickup truck as you see it, with utility boxes on the sides, similar to the existing utility 9, all right? And a slide out bed in the rear, so that the heavy stuff that's carried in that center section of the bed can be pulled out on a tray and accessed without trying to climb up in there or lift it or muscle it in and out. And those, additionally, we'd be mounting some tubes that would be, if you can picture the utility boxes on the side, under those utility boxes, we'd be looking at 6 tubes on each side to carry the big folding traffic signs. They would slide in those tubes, all right? And the stands for those, the bases for those tubes, bases for those signs would be on a pull-out tray along with traffic cones and things like that. That ballpark estimate, Joe has put at between 18 and 20 grand to do that work. So we'd be looking at, when we go to bid with this, we'd be looking at roughly 18 to 20 grand, presumably from where the low bidder is. And then we'd be looking at another roughly, I don't know, 3,000 plus or minus $3,200 to do the wrap up. So that's where we are with utility. And I don't know how we get the numbers any closer without actually going to bid on it. So, comments, questions?
Just slide out trays, could be like utilities.
No,
Covering.
no, we looked at that. We looked at utilities and we talked, and Jeff could speak to it probably better than I can. The folks from Wyansville, fire police from Wyansville, brought it over there one night. They were really good about explaining things that they saw that could have been done differently with it. And they saw that as a real loss, because while those drawers are nice, there's lost space on both sides of them and the center of them. So they really can't put as much stuff in them as they'd like.
Now that's more like.
So this is going to be a 1,500 pound pull-out tray. That's it. No storage. It's not storage underneath. It is the whole bed will be a pull-out tray that will come out, and everything will be on that. And Chris identified some new stands. Those of you familiar with the metal folding stands that we currently use to hold the big signs, and we've got all the pinch points on them, or a pin in the half yard to set them up, take them down, and all that. Chris came up with something that the highway departments are using that they're basically rubber. They're a big rubber mat with a folding arm on them, and click, it's up. You put the sign in it, and you're in business.
You know, sorry about the voice, but the hardware itself, the tracing is supposed to be better, is that going to be an issue? The rails, everything, there's nothing covering it.
Shouldn't be a problem. Shouldn't be a problem. I've seen them on a lot of applications like that.
That's fun.
Other questions?
Your fires now, oh, they're rusting out, we're this whole bit.
Good question, though. Other questions, comments? How do you want to proceed with it? Are we ready to go to bed? Other questions?
When again, I just get it,
Pardon?
just to get a definite price on the stats, the adding to it.
Okay,
So we have an idea.
we can nail that down by the November meeting.
You know, just have a good idea. If you're talking about 36.
Yeah, he gave me 36 for the whole vehicle, 24 for the half. So and that didn't include the hood of the roof. So we said, okay, you got a $1,200 difference. You got $1,200 difference. 600 of that is half of it. So we add 600 to the 2,400. You're at $3,000. So we figured it'd be roughly $3,000 to have stripes wrap it
At that point,
without the roof.
at that point, it's worth this going in the roof. That's, I mean,
Do you want to do the spending extra 600 on the roof, or do you want to have it try and match utility port too? That's, or do you want to have it try and match the full-size apparatus out here on the floor that's already white overread? That was the question. Or do we want to just leave it at white? We could be really frugal about this and say, we don't need that to be red. So it's a white truck.
I think at the meeting, we were kind of, the group of us that were there already said what you brought up earlier was just the red lower half and then the white for the top. So I think that's what people that showed up was what they.
How much
Including
does that cost to add the red?
I'm sorry, what?
How much is that portion?
To just the red lower,
Yeah.
$3,000. $3,000.
My personal opinion,
Sure.
we're trying to watch every penny, it's $3,000. We have a white utility truck. This thing, we kind of have to look at wants and needs.
We just hold off on, we just held off on a lot of our purchases right here.
But then the big picture, we have a $1.1 million budget, $3,000 isn't gonna kill us, but if we're trying to watch expenses.
That's kind of where I was with it. I'm presenting the committees, I'm trying to present the committee's proposal, not my proposal, the committee's proposal. Chief, you're going to mention something. Go ahead.
So Rich, I don't know if you guys noticed or not, but utility 42, the wrap that's on it, it has an luminescence to it at night. So that whole truck reflects. It's not just a 2-inch stripe. That whole truck reflects that yellow. So I don't know if the red a match to everything else. You know what I mean? Because there's different products out there. So
The 3M product, it's primarily 3M product.
yeah, so I don't know if you might want to nail that down first with like samples and stuff, because
One of the challenges that we found is, first off, 3M greatly reduced the number of colors that they have available now. As a matter of fact, Joe told us that he probably wouldn't be able to match your yellow anymore with the 3M product. Might be able to find it for something else. The other big comment that he made was that he was trying to steer us away from the wrap at all, because wrap, as he put it, is designed to be a temporary thing. Wrap is designed to be put on a vehicle so that you can advertise and then easily change your advertisements. It's not designed to be something that lasts the life of a vehicle. And if it gets an accident, or if it has to have a new body work, you're never going to be able to match a color. Even if you get the same number, it's not going to match because of the fade that's going to happen. Even more so than paint. And paint, if there's fade, they can accommodate that in the mix. They get the paint coat, they get the right tints, then they can dull it down to mix to match the.
We deviated a little bit from our apparatus plan that we just approved beforehand, because we got a really good buy on the truck.
Right.
So I just think, we don't want to be unnecessarily chewing up the savings on cosmetic things, and plus if it's being recommended that it's really be a short-term thing, and it's not intended for long-term.
Okay.
If you get a little bit of body damage and you have to repair it, you got to basically replace that whole wrap again, right?
Or just go with a mixed match. I don't like the idea of a wrap. That's if we're gonna paint, if we want the truck to be red, my thought is let's paint it and do it right. But at the price of the paint, I don't see that as being an option either. I would oppose a wrap on a T-Scar, I would oppose a wrap on I just don't see it being, I quite honestly, I never knew utility, I never realized, my own fault, I never realized utility 42 was wrapped until we started discussing utility 9. I always thought that they made it. I assumed that they did. Chris, Ryan, Nick, your thoughts?
Sounds of it, I think we should just leave it white and just stripe it, and then worst case, a year goes down, maybe half the lower half paint red.
If the money comes around somewhere.
If money, something pops up that we end up with extra money somewhere, we got some big purchases we keep talking about in the coming years of apparatus, so, we can fortunately pinch a penny, Looks nice now. I think once it's striped, it probably looks a little better, so.
Chris, Brian, what's? Flip
I
line
still
first.
to the building report. It's squatting over color. You know, we were told, you know, it was a safety issue with the current one, and I can see on the road sooner than later. But someone's got some kind of safety reflection, you know, like there's certain, like white strips you do to make it safe. Because you're going to come about the yellow, it's really reflective. I don't know how that's going to shine, I mean, you probably got to put something on the truck for reflective. safety.
Oh, it's gonna have the regular striping on it, it's full reflective.
Yeah, just make sure, I mean, at the end of the day, you can always do it next year if you had paint. I want to see the seat on the road, not be helpful or
Okay,
red, white, red, red. We were told it was a safety issue, which the thing is old. There are issues with it.
Chris?
I was on board with the ad. to be honest with you. I like to match the rest of your trucks out there, like out in the dark utility. It matches the rest of the fleet, makes it uniform, a little bit nicer. What, 2 years old, 2019?
It's 3 years old. It's survived several incidents. There's no scratches, there's no tears.
You're aware that there's some spots where it's already starting to peel in the fenders, in the,
Yeah, those bubbles have been there since the beginning.
the poles? I'm not talking bubbles, I'm talking long poles
Yes, they've been there since.
on the curves.
The problem with it was the body lines of the truck and the way the wrap has to be set and stuff. It just, it's not conducive to nice and smooth looking.
Yeah, and I don't know if you can ever fix that, that's part of the problem. Well,
That's kind of all over the place.
pardon?
They're kind of all over the place.
Yeah, we're kind of all over the place. Like I said, personally, I presented the committee's perspective on it. Personally, I'm in favor of leaving it white as well. So if we were to take a vote on it, we're 4-1. Chief, can you accept that?
Guess I'm gonna have to be.
Well, I mean, we are making efforts everywhere we can. And we've had this discussion throughout the whole night, whether we're talking about the one still building, the equipment, you know, can we do something different with how our money is invested? We've been talking all night. Everything we've talked about is where can we save a few more bucks? And I just think it's incumbent on us right now in this day and age to save a few more bucks every opportunity we can. If the truck comes,
Mainline piece of apparatus would be different. But I think utility vehicle, we just had a white one.
it's exactly that. It's exactly right. All right, so I'm going to, based on that, pass on doing any more with the stripe or the wrapping quote. I'm gonna go ahead and work with Joe and finalize this. And that was, I didn't write it down. I apologize. I'm rattling through. What was the specific question on the specification that I did, Rebecca asked about?
The lighting was the lights inside the bed,
The lights on the side of the bed.
inside.
There's no lighting on the inside of the bed. There is, all right, you got a back rack there. The light bar is up on top of the back rack. There are 2 lights, I can find the exact language for it. There are 2 lights mounted on the back rack that shine down into the bed. They provide the lighting that will allow you to take anything off that slide out tray or to get anything out of those tubes. There's flashers, I won't say they're the same, similar to what's on the 7s that are red and white flashing on the sides and the front. But then when you get to the scene, they turn into white scene lights. They become brown lights around the truck. They're a little bit narrower because they're going to fit in the body panel a little bit better. And the same thing happens in the rear of the truck. 2 grill lights, similar, completely programmable bar lights. And he's also, at the same time, he talked to Jeff when he was here. At the same time, he sets up Utility 9, he says he'll be able to bring his laptop over, and should the chief agree, he's gonna be able to make some adjustments to utility 4.2's light bar that should give them a little bit better control of that light bar and what it can do, because he says it's completely programmable. So you should be able to do that at the same time with the laptop. So again, you'll be able to talk to him, see specifically what it is, he'll be able to do it for you. So I'll pursue getting that nailed down for the November meeting then. Questions on that? You don't have to vote on anything related to that tonight. Lots to digest there, though. Any questions on that? All right, let me find what I did with my agenda, because I'm going to show all the paper right here. Building and grounds. Chris, Ryan, this side of the room?
Not much. No, I think Bob, replaced one of the CO detectors in the bay already. And through some savings, found some stuff on Amazon, so the rate of charge was a lot higher. So it was given part, get the 20 detectors on their way. I say it was about a few hundred, close to $1,000 in savings. It was through Amazon instead of.
You're able to get the parts on Amazon cheaper than the vendor?
Well, we got one on Granger, the rest of them were out of stock, so I was able to get it on Amazon.
It's a lot cheaper. Working on getting the street number 350 out front. We've got some placement, where to put it, just to get the recommendation. That's a great idea, by the way. It's also a code requirement. Yeah.
Yeah, it was brought to my attention, I believe it brought to my attention here about several weeks ago, and I told Bob, I said, hey, I don't know how it got missed, and I don't know how anybody, none of us had ever caught it. And I asked Bob to get us a quote on it. So,
Not only does it help find here, but passerby, if they're looking for another, address in the area.
that's good stuff.
Good idea. Bob doing, I didn't think of it, Chief noticed it.
That's all good stuff. I mean, we go out and talk to the community about making sure they got a visible number. I'm glad nobody stuck it back on our face that we did.
Just a matter of figuring out where to mount it, first we come on the building, that would make sense.
We got the Church Street number on the Lionsville Firehouse somewhere.
Yes.
I see a yes and I see a no.
We have a 511.
Okay,
511
long as
on
we-
the lower door, 511 on the.
Okay, as long as we got the number there, okay, good, good.
I just saw the bills and windows were clean. Yep. Hopefully that was good. Probably missed a couple things, but.
Cool. I noticed we got the blacktop done, we got the seal coating, thank you. We had the seal coating done, we had the striping done, and then they came back and filled the cracks. Are they gonna come back and repaint the striping where they went over it with the seal
I
coat?
noticed that.
They're gonna come back and do that?
I'm gonna have to call them. I don't know why they did that, because they were supposed to come back and fill the void between the apron concrete and the blacktop. And I mean, they put a lot of extra hot tar, I mean, a lot, which is not a bad thing for us because there were a lot of cracks out there. However, they did go over some of the.
I just happened to notice it.
Yeah.
So I noticed it in the landing zone out here on the side. I didn't even look in the back to see if it was that way. Anything else on the building and grounds? Nice job. We all set for snow removal? What we need to do there?
I know last time there was a work detail here, they winterized and got the snowball running.
But I mean, we're also over contracts, we're also over.
Other stuff.
We'll go with that. Okay. Wonderful, wonderful. All right, we'll move on. District personnel, Dan and Brian. Dan? Point out that where Bonnie and J.O. have been doing a great job hustling and getting all the stuff in the transition of the computer system. So when it comes to district personnel, I know that sometimes we like to complain a lot, but they're both doing a great job making sure that that transition happens well with the software transition.
Just to clarify, we haven't complained a lot about.
No, but you hear complaints.
Oh,
You
all right.
hear complaints.
Yeah, I just don't want to.
No, the district's not complaining.
Yeah.
No, I didn't, I hope it didn't sound that way. Finance insurance audit, Dan and Nick.
Nick and I met Sean down here for the opening of the bids.
The audit bids.
Oh, the audit bid, okay.
You want to give the results of?
Yeah, so we did get two bids in, and the first one was from Ryan's Remuglia, who who's currently our auditors. And for the next 5 years, it's $5,000 every year for 5 years. The other one was BST, and 2022, it's 8,500, 2023, it's 8,670, 2024, it's 8,850, 2025, it's 9,025, and 2026, it's 9,200.
Yeah, I don't think
So
so.
it's like, we didn't hear back. We heard back from another Dave Hunter who used to audit us, but he said he had to get out of the audit business. It's just too costly for the few that he really had to have quantity because there's certain requirements and insurance and all of that. So he was not interested, but he said he'd be more than happy if I wanted, he'd come down and help me do the annual report and so forth. So it was nice volunteer stuff. Good. But, yes, I think we should move forward with Brian Remuglia for the next 5 years at $5,000 a year, not to exceed $5,000 a year.
Okay, consider that a motion to approve that audit firm.
Should be resolution.
A resolution, I'm sorry. Spend money. Any second, any discussion? Roll call vote, please, sorry.
Chris? Aye. Brian? Aye. Rich? Aye. Nick? Aye. Dan?
Aye.
Well, let's see, so we're gonna pass a what number million dollar budget? Would that be a resolution or?
$1,519,404 budget for 2023 with a tax rate of $4.30 per thousand assessed value.
We've heard all the details. We conducted a public hearing. We've discussed it to death. I think we all know where we stand financially. The money is gonna be tight for a few years, but we're taking steps that we need to take with this budget to get out in front of it a little bit. So I would consider a resolution to pass the budget as proposed, discussed earlier tonight. I'll make that resolution. I'll make the resolution. Somebody want a second it?
I'll second it.
Nick seconds it. Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Chris? Aye. Brian? Aye. Rich? Aye. Nick?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
All right, we have a budget. Thank you all. Thank everybody for their efforts and their inputs into getting a budget. That's one of the significant things that we do in the course of any given year is get a budget for the next year. Long range planning, Brian or Nick, anything to add to the fine work that got done earlier this year?
Yeah.
Nothing development wise, okay? Policies, procedures, membership, Brian and Nick, again.
2 members to vote on, right?
Got 2 members, yes, thank you. Oh, there is there. 2 members to join the Lionsville Firehouse, a Walter Apple, as a full member, and Alexander Taplin as a junior. All the paperwork seems to be in order. All the signatures are here. Consider a motion. Motion by Chris, second by Nick. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And those are approved. I'll sign both of them and get back to you, Bob, before.
One quick thing on our policies, I know Brian and I were going to talk. Did not, but we were anticipating passing the sample policy that Terry shared with us last month on the, you call it virtual home-based.
Jim.
Yeah,
You
but
want
they
to-
were, well, we just wanted to recommend a dollar amount. I think elsewhere it's a little more than we can afford. Maybe Brian and I.
Well, you know, I mean, they got this, you got all those high cost lawyers looking on that.
Anyway, we were supposed to do that, and we didn't get that, but we'll look for next month.
Okay, that's fine. It's a busy month.
And the other, say one other thing with policies. If I could get something from the 2 chiefs, if you guys, how the officer qualifications are working, if you think they need to be tweaked at all. We've talked, who now November, see any changes to classes. And also the other thing, I just want to see if we're consistently giving out red tags. That we're consistently district-wide, make sure it's one standard for we get it back. So,
Yeah.
we can link up sometime in the middle of the next month, the next meeting.
We haven't pushed it a lot this year. We're doing a lot of other things. But the more we continue to merge the policies and procedures into one set of policies and procedures for the district, the farther ahead, the better off we're going to be. And quite honestly, I don't know how one fire district can have multiple sets of policies and procedures. So, and Brian is a good example of one. you know, when somebody goes from probationary to full riding to interior to whatever, how that happens. There should be a degree of consistency to it, you know, whether it's a training level achieved or what it is, there should be some consistency from station to station on that. So that's something we probably should look at. That probably is something that also rolls over into firematic operations as well, so.
Yeah. Well, also, I just want to know the officer policies are actually working, or if you need to tweak some more.
Yeah. And there's,
Either way,
there are some changes, and there's a number of changes in good state courses that are out there that should be considered when you're looking at officers' policies. There's a number of them out there now, and there's a new one I just got notice on the other day that's just coming out. That I think these are ones that should be looked at as we get down the road. And actually, the three that are rattling around in my brain right now is, wow, all three of them would be good training. All three of them are 6-hour classes. So it's not like any of them would be an exorbitant amount of training that we're expecting somebody to take. So there's a number of good classes that are out there that would be beneficial. LoSAP, Nick, Brian, chiefs and presidents.
The issue that Mr. Yeno brought up to us last month about LoSAP was taken care of, fixed.
Outstanding.
Now you can see this 3 months of age missing.
You can see it?
Yep.
Okay, good. Anything else with LoSAP? Okay, we need to make sure we got our postings ready as we go in towards the end of the year, because I know people are going to be looking at this. Want to make sure they get their LoSAP. It's all about LoSAP, as we hear from so many people. Special committees, business operations, technology, and Nick.
As of October 1st, all fire reports and other activities will be entered into the Alpine system. We're fully migrated over to that, so we will no longer be using firehouse software or manually entering any data. And Bob has prepared
For that, for alarms and attendance.
alarms, attendance, activities. It's tracking everything.
We're still using the firehouse software for the inspection reports and that kind of stuff. Is that-
Well, they can until we fully get the other stuff, which will be by the end of the year.
Calls, drills, activities, standbys, miscellaneous credits, all that. And Bob prepared a memo for both departments.
Good.
And again, you already touched on it, but hats off to J.O. and Bonnie for doing a nice job with that. And Bob for all your help, really coordinating everything.
Yeah, and there's a couple other people that have been working on it too, that I think we ought to recognize.
Yeah.
I know we've been working, I don't know who all have been. I think John Carroll has been working on. He's one that's-
John Carroll and Matt Bulak
Matt
from
Bulak,
DFD
yeah.
or the
So,
community.
we're guys
Really appreciation of those folks as well.
really leaning in and making sure that this happens. A real good thing. Anything else under business operations technology? Ken? Nothing. Good. Plan development review. Ryan? Anything? Ryan? Nick?
We've got a few sets of plans for wines side of town. Chief and I reviewed some and found no issues. You know, they're building some single family twin homes, what they're doing now, so. There's 26 in one area on Williams Road and very young pasture. So, pasture.
Did anybody make it to the town board meeting Thursday night when they discussed the project down there off of? Can't think of the name of it.
Fire there.
Quackender.
the town board.
The town board was discussed at the town board meeting Thursday. Did anybody make it to that meeting? No.
No, not just the second one, just the first town.
I was just curious if what did roll out of
I
that?
mean, we're still waiting on the meeting with the developer and the town building department, which I was told by Eric Westfall is going to happen, so.
Okay.
At some point, we'll reach out to Chief Burkhardt, as he's obviously fire chief.
Firematic operations, Chris, you got anything? We kind of hit on a couple things earlier that I think we kind of roll into that, but the only thing I have under firematic operations for both chief's benefit I guess it's public knowledge now, people have been told it. I wasn't told to keep it secret, but it appears that Mike Kleiner has the intention of leaving sometime on or about the first of the year from the head of the building department position. His intention, as I understand it, or their intention, is to keep him on in some kind of capacity for a little while he trains and helps train his replacement. But then, and even that will diminish and disappear. So I had been, hearing operationally all these, comments, and I've been talking to both of you and others, seeing, there's some real discord going on. So I was looking to schedule a meeting with him and probably Bill and probably Eric and the two chiefs to see if we could, hey, we're all on the streets together and we all got a job to do kind of thing. I'm going to hold off on that now until Mike's replacement's been named, so that, I don't want no sense of meeting with Mike and putting him in a trick box that he can't do anything about because he's leaving. And I'm not saying in any way that a problem is strictly Mike's. Yeah, there's issues. There's always issues that have to be worked out. So I think we'll get people together and we'll make sure that we take care of the problem, address the problems rather than just let them fester and people boil on them. So anything other than that? Anything we missed? All right, let's reopen the public session. Anybody wishing to speak with regard to anything?
I forgot when we were doing my report, Mark Primo was over, and I think he did fix that manhole that was over there at the catch basin. They
Really?
found that, over the water station.
The lower one and the lower one?
They found that the concrete around the pipe going out was disintegrated, so they were going to fix that with new concrete.
So that caused the rest of it to shift down?
Because the water flew through there, it eroded everything, and then when it eroded it, those guys happened to catch it quick. So the truck didn't go over the top of it, and then they backfilled it and did what they had to do. I think that's complete, I'm not positive, but he was in communication with Bob. And then.
I thought that was something we were gonna have to fix when we did the.
No, it was a town thing, it was right on the town.
Right on the town road, right on Church Street, right on the corner of the Jane Wall. Well, it looks like it's the ladder truck that goes out for calls, but right over top of that, so I mean, that's helped at all.
So I think that's all good, and then we had a toilet fixed over that side of town too, so. Other than that,
Hey, Joey, I see the bill in there. Is that the toilet that keeps running in the bathroom downstairs?
he fixed the toilet there. Is it still running because?
Yeah, when I was there yesterday, I heard it.
Is it?
When I used the urinal, it was still, I thought it was something that wasn't repaired yet. That's why I bring it up to
It
you.
was fixed because he put a new mechanism there, Chris Bowling.
Yeah, that's a pretty hefty bill.
That's what you pay when you
Well, I
call them
know
in.
how they were-
You want to follow up with Bob and say if they stop not working right?
Yep.
Seems to still be running.
I can stop over quick tomorrow and see if it's running. but-
Just take a look at it, Joe, and let me know, please.
Anything else under public session? Hearing none, consider a motion to adjourn.
You forgot to act on the DFD facility use request.
Oh, that's right. What we do that? Oh, that's right. You got back to us with the date. So the October 26th, chief has indicated the building is open. Consider a motion to approve it as a one-time use on precedent setting. Motion made. I'll second it. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? Now consider a motion to adjourn. Did I miss anything else? Motion made. Do we want to second that motion? Brian seconds that one. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. We're out of here. Thank you.
That, the stuff that you have to add today, is that on your flash drive or whatever? You send that?
Oh, no, I'll send it to you.
Yeah,
Did he
so I
send it
can-
to you?
No, so I can make,
Yeah. I'll send it out tomorrow
so
morning.
just take the time, just so when I can print it off and I can make copies.